do, and I've got nothing better to do, so I'm doing this. Acting like it's so slow at the moment, but see if that improves. But this stream is going to be something I need to do more. I need somewhere to vent more than anything else, because I've just had a particular shit show with the video games I've been playing. But I'll start this up in a minute. I'll just give it like another half a minute or something, and just sort some shit out while I'm at it. But hope everyone's doing well at any rate. I wanted primarily to talk about what's been happening with Nigel Farage and what have you, because he recently went on Panorama to have this little, I don't even want to call it an interview because it wasn't really much of an interview. What this really was, it was basically Nick Robinson trying to get his claws out and dig into him more than anything. It was a scathing attack, not an actual interview, because all he was doing was being like, oh, look at this guy, he admires Vladimir Putin, oh, look at him, he's a racist and all that stuff. Nice to see you, Attitude. Hope you're doing well. And all I can say is Nick Robinson made an ass of himself. He didn't prove that Nigel Farage was this big bad boogeyman that Nick obviously claims him to be. All he did was he went into the usual spiel of the BBC. Then, are we really surprised at this point? And to be honest, it's probably not even new news at this point, since we all know the BBC, their main go-to strategy is the hit piece. Like, at this point, we might as well have like a fucking set of pans and a bloody spoon here, and like, clang! Every single time we hear them talk about Vladimir Putin, racism, and taking out of context some of the stuff Nigel Farage has said. But, as I said, are we really surprised? Because this is what they do all the bloody time. At the end of the day, Nick Robinson looked completely unprofessional. His outfit is even worse than my fashion sense, and that's saying something. He looked like he had only just woken up when he started the damn interview. Doesn't even look like he's even freshly shaved, which, to be fair, I'm not, but then at least I'm not sitting here in a fucking studio. And he's just going on with the same... It all looked so scripted, quite frankly. The way they just go into the same generic stuff. And then at the end was probably the most obvious point of how the whole thing was scripted, by basically going back and saying, oh, Nigel Farage, he's a racist, he supports Vladimir Putin. Are you the person that's meant to stand for these people? And he does it in such a way, he's such a patronizing little cunt, Nick Robinson. Like, I'm surprised that his back hasn't become like a curve, the amount he leant forward, quite frankly, just to be this patronizing, weaselly, conniving little snake that he is. I think, quite frankly, he portrays exactly why a lot of people simply refuse to pay the television license. Speaking of television license, I think I've got it here, actually. Is it this one? Yes, it is. 1 second. There we go. Just get rid of my details so I don't give those on this fucking live stream. Yes, as you've not responded to a... Oh, wait, this is 2024. Oh, fuck that then. But basically, all these damn letters they keep sending us and all the shit they keep doing on the mainstream media, shit shows, biased media, journalists who are not journalists, they're actually activists. The BBC has lost touch with everyone, just like our government has lost touch with everyone. Nigel Farage wiped the fucking floor with him. How they're even trying to say, oh, you're in support of people, or there are people who support him because of the racism. And this is probably based off some of the comments he made about how Muslims are not integrating with society. Not all of them, of course, but there are a large number of people from the Islamic background that come over to this country that don't want to assimilate, they want to subjugate. And then, of course, Nigel Farage completely destroys Nick Robertson with cobblers, absolute cobblers. Because let's face it, that is what Nick Robertson is. He's a load of cobblers, full of shit. He should be a politician, quite frankly, not an activist. Because he's not a journalist, let me tell you. And he sure as shit wouldn't be a very decent journalist if he was cast as one. He's a politician, nothing more. All he needs now is his own little fucking podium and have like one of those signs on the lockdown stages. Stay at home, protect NHS, that kind of thing. That's all Nick Robertson needs right now. Just give him one of them and he's perfectly at fucking home. The guy's a muppet, quite frankly. He's so dense. It does make me laugh. And it also makes me think, I'm glad I'm not as dumb as that guy. Hello there, Ted. Hope you're doing all right. Oh, dear. It's just... I need this so much. You have no idea how much I need to live stream just to fucking vent this right now because of how stressed not only I am with regards to all the shit going on in the world, but as I said, from the video games I was playing that decided to screw me over left, right, and centre. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to as far as the Nigel Farage interview is concerned, well, actually, sorry, no, not interview, scathing assault, or what was a pathetic attempt at a scathing assault, is that I guarantee you the BBC would not do this with anyone else. Have somebody like fucking Boris Johnson on, or Rishi Sunak, or Keir Starmer. Do you think they're going to take the same attitude with him? Do you think they're going to use the same script with him? Tells me not. Mind you don't need to put one and one together to make two, especially when you can technically make 11 with them. But I digress. At the end of the day, they will not change. They are an armed establishment. And they are a corrupt media broadcaster. This is why we need to take out the trash. Love a good venting. That's fair enough. I mean, sometimes you have to vent. Well, that, or you end up bottling it up, and then when it all goes boom and all that shit, it all comes out in a very bad way. He'll be fine. Anyway, the point is, they will not stop this narrative of discredit anybody who doesn't follow the globalist / Marxist agenda. And to some extent, you could say communist. Because the three main parties, okay, yeah, you're right, 100%. They need to realise there are three parties now. Not two, there's three. Because a lot of people are behind Nigel Farage. Some of us may have our speculations, shall we say, or our gripes with him. But it doesn't change the fact that Nigel has support. He has a lot of support. Hell, even from the people that Nigel Farage would rather distance himself from, like Tommy Robinson. But even after all that shit, Tommy still says he's the man we need for the country. Is he a permanent solution? I don't think he's going to be a permanent solution. What he is going to be, however, is a quick, immediate fix for the left-wing Marxism that we've got. I think he will sort out a lot of the policies, a lot of the bullshit laws, and a lot of the fascism that comes from the left wing, that ironically they use the legendary art of projection on to send it over to the supposed far right. But of course, the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill. Because say it with me, folks. It doesn't suit the narrative. That's all it boils down to. They do not want to be able. They don't want. Sorry, I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. I need to take a step back. They don't want people to be able to say those guys are fascists and they're just projecting. They want to control us. Anybody who dissents, they'll try and club us, arrest us, sentence us to jail, just like what they're doing with Tommy Robinson. Granted, he's at least going to have the right to have his protest on the 27th of July, but it doesn't change the fact that the Attorney General himself is trying to send Tommy Robinson to prison. From the loathsome snake that is Nick Lowles. The guy who, every time he goes to bed, he looks under the bed to see if Tommy Robinson is there. He's that batshit scared of him. Do you ever think that Nick Lowles will be able to have the balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case, both? Is he ever going to come out and challenge Tommy directly? Of course he's not. Because there's one thing that Nick Lowles has. There's only one weapon that he has. Fantasy. Because that's all it is. Pure fucking fantasy. Yes, you could argue the point of Tommy Robinson is technically a criminal. But this is only in the context of they sentenced him for crimes, which one of them he pleaded guilty because it was the mortgage fraud case where he was filling out a mortgage fraud for a friend. No one lost any money. No one lost a penny. Everyone got paid and what have you. But because of the fact that the government and the police were after his family, Tommy wanted to protect his family. And that's what caused him to go to prison on a criminal charge of mortgage fraud. Likewise, there was also the assault that he did on a police officer, but, never a jury trial, good point. But there was also a point where he attacked a police officer, and he was only in the wrong the moment the police officer was down on the floor after he harassed Tommy's wife, and then Tommy started stamping on his head. That's it. Other than that, he was within his rights to defend himself. So has he attacked the police? Once. You could argue. But the point is, Tommy has never done anything with purely malicious intent. He's never done anything to be an asshole, basically. Like, for example, he hasn't gone out of his way, pulled out a fuck-off great big knife and gone up to someone and say, give me your damn money. Or gone into a convenience store and said, give me the money, give me the money. He's never done that. He's never been malicious in his approach. A lot of the crimes that they try to stitch him up on, that even if they did, he hasn't committed. Like, this is the thing. Nigel Farage may not like Tommy Robinson, but the truth is, Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson have more in common than even one or the other might think. And Nick Lowles, it's because of the fucking BBC presenter, I keep mixing him up, okay? Nick Lowles has only got like maybe one, maybe two bits of things against Tommy, which are mostly negligible. Whereas Tommy has completely exposed Hope Not Hate, or Hate Not Hope, whatever you want to call them, including the fact that they had overinflated their figures by 3,000% as far as hate crime was concerned. And as said before, and we'll say here again, nothing at that point should ever have been taken as credible evidence from Hope Not Hate. Yet it is them who ends up being used as credible news sources. Excuse me. And also used by mainstream media to do their Panodrama documentaries, which again, Panodrama ended up exposing Panorama entirely. And hello there, lodger. Barbecue weather? That it is. If only I had a barbecue. Oh, well, it is what it is. But there's no need to worry. I'm sure my ribs will end up bloody barbecued by the end of this shit. I digress again. They don't understand that Nigel Farage and Tommy Robinson are probably two of the most supported figureheads in this country. Obviously, Nigel Farage is always going to come second to Tommy, because Tommy has been politically persecuted most of his life. That is something that there is no shot Nigel Farage is going to surpass him on, even if he were to become the Prime Minister. But they are both the most popular political figureheads in this country. Nigel Farage, because he got us Brexit, he delivered us from the hellscape that was Brussels and the unelected bureaucracy. And then, of course, Tommy had been telling us about the grooming gangs and about Islam and how they've been a fundamental problem. Hello there. Hope you're doing well. At the end, this is what it comes down to. They have support. The government's terrified of that. The government they're holding nothing back. They're pulling no punches anymore. They will stop at nothing to discredit them, because what they fear is release of control. They fear they will lose their iron grip on this country. And here's the inexorable truth. They will lose control. Undoubtedly. It's just a matter of how and when. Because the way I look at it is, I don't think people are going to sit around and wait another 5 years for another chance to potentially elect someone like Nigel Farage. I highly doubt it. I think people are going to get to the point where they're pushed over the edge. This is brutal honest talking now. I think a lot of people are going to have had enough, and as much as I want to believe in Richard Inman's cause, and of course Paul Thorpe's cause, and Tommy Robinson's cause, I think there are going to be people that crack. I am worried about that. I think what's going to happen is one of two things. Either Nigel Farage is going to get into the Downing Street, or we may end up seeing a violent revolution, which, just for anybody, to be absolutely clear, I've never advocated for violence at all, ever. I'll always condemn it. But I will completely understand if the British public feel like there are no other options. As John F. Kennedy once said, when you make peaceful resolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. And I am worried that it is going to be here or where that we end up seeing this. They did lose control when they lost they gave us the internet and now they can't control us anymore. It's like releasing a dinosaur from his cage and expecting him to just go quietly back into the cage. No, that's not going to fucking happen. It's going to go around and eat all the blood livestock. But maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing. I don't know. What I do know, though, is that a lot of people are losing their patience. And while I do want to keep down the peaceful route, I'm sure Tommy does, and Richard Inman does, and Paul Thorpe does, I'm worried. I am very, very worried that if Nigel Farage doesn't get into power, I think people are going to take the law into their own hands. And then, unfortunately, we're going to end up having the media shields come out and say, you see, he was a far-right racist thug and football hooligan and lockdown protester and blah, blah, blah. That's basically what they're going to do. They're going to try and justify everything they said. When at the end of the day, it's not even supposed far-right. It's a matter of the ordinary people are just fed up. Yeah, exactly. He's not far right. He's right so far. And probably always will be. Unless he slips up somewhere, which is not very often at all, let me tell you, in all the fucking, 15, 20 years he's been doing this? At the end of the day, they want something to justify calling us far right. Because right now, they have nothing. They don't even have one scrap of evidence to say that the supposed far right is on the rise. I suppose technically you could class Islam as that, because Islam wants totalitarian control. They want Sharia law, they want a caliphate, they want to discriminate against women and homosexuals because of the laws they have and what the Quran teaches them. Like, you could say that far right is rising up. Absolutely, 100%. But as far as ordinary patriots caring about their country and wanting the best for their country, nuh-uh. They aren't far right. As said, and as our friend here has rightly said, they're right so far. But again, mainstream media don't want to tell you that. They're scared. They're scared of losing control. They're scared of losing power. But at the end of the day, they're going to lose it. Not if, it's when. And what we need to do as a people is, metaphorically speaking, we need to take out the trash. We need to take all those left-wing sheeple, the left-wing politicians, the corrupt government, the corrupt media, the corrupt police, the corrupt justice system. We need to take them all out and put them in the dumpster of history where they rightfully belong. Because I'll tell you this much, they won't beat us. The inexorable truth is they are losing control, and they will lose. It's a war of attrition, and like last time I checked, there's far more of us than there are of them. There are far more people ready. Treason still capital offence. Yeah, it is. They're all traitors. Every single one of them. The corrupt politicians, the corrupt police, the mainstream media, the sheeple in the left who want to support Palestine rather than their own country. Because that's another thing. But I don't want to go too much longer in this, because otherwise we'll be here all bloody day. And as much as some people would probably want to hear me talk all day, I have other things I need to do. But as far as the Palestine is concerned, last time I checked, Palestine are looking for genocide of Jews, actual war crimes. They are looking later down the line at the genocide of all the kafir, or the kafar, or the kafar, or whatever you want to call them, the non-believers, basically, because that's what hardline Islam does, Sunni Islam in particular. They don't want integration. They want total control, just like our government. Two cheeks of the same arse springs to mind, which is why we will always fight this. I especially will fight this. And provided all goes well and my new friend is available for the 27th, I'm hoping that I'll be down there on the 27th. I was a little bit exhausted, not gonna lie, but if I have someone else there to help me out, could be fine. But yeah, I wish you all a good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you one last time for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye for now, and let's take out the trash. That's me. There we go.